Yo, how's it going, guys? We've got some very good news going into globals, and that is the fact that Vico, Veno, Flixi have finally started to play like Vico, Veno, Flixi. This season, they've been kind of dudding in the finals. 26th and 11th place down here as well. And then even in the most recent week, they were placing, barely inside the qual range. And then they finally locked in and they won finals with a crazy 15 kill win, which is what we're taking a look at today. There's also some other news in this map as well. Peterbot has decided to con Epic Whale as well as his Japanese team right there. He kind of put the belt to Epic Whale, made Epic Whale look a little bit ropey in this Osborne fight as well. I Drop Cherry Cami are looking very, very good. Pigstorm Demus are also uncon as well. And Fredoxy finally had a good day of FNCS finals versus Tayson in this Osborne fight. There's a lot of interesting strats going on. We're going to be breaking down Vico, Veno, Flixi here today. Another thing to note as well, just before we hop into it, it's Pigstorm Demus looking incredibly good, as I said. Chat Mr. Savage Reason, who are contested at Globals. Like, they are actually contested up here by Koyota, the Japanese GOAT. They are contested, but they placed 6th place, which is really good for them. So they could actually be looking very good to go into Globals. But there's a couple teams that are really struggling. First of all, Ping Wox Malabuka down here in 21st while being uncontested. Or, a couple of Osborne fights, but, that is not a good placement from them. That's really not up to their standards. As well as Vanya Pixie Marius, really struggling as well. Tayson lost the Osborne fight, so he's down in 28th. And another team as well you should keep your eyes on is Hero, FKS, and 5ALD. These guys are Middle East. They were playing on EU for this cup, and they managed to place, pretty towards the bottom of the leaderboard. But today, we're going to be focusing on these guys up in first place, uncon at Globals, and they are looking very, very good. So let's break down what they are doing off spawn. First of all, Veno is landing at this top chest, especially on this type of bus path. And these guys on the side are landing down here in the canyon. The reason they're doing this is just to be as quick as possible. These guys' timings, I think, are the best out of any team. They have like a really efficient loop path as we watch them right here, as you can see. And also important to note, they get a load of ammo from this drop spot as well. So you can see they loot up, they get metal straight away. Veno is up here clearing the bosses and all the bugs as well. So they're guaranteed to get B rank from doing this as well, which is really nice. That means they get guaranteed crashes. So now they get B rank. All of them get their crates in as well. So literally all of them are going to have their crates. They get the flag, which is a nice addition to this POI. They come down here. One of them's already got the cave. And just like that, they're basically done with their off-spawn loot path. All they need to do is, get a little bit more materials, but their off-spawn path is so quick. And this is actually a massive advantage in a globals type setting because, of course, there is an off-spawn fight going on up here. Tayson won at this game, so I think one of the games that he won, but they had to, res, they have to, loot up, they have to kill the queen as well. So it's a little bit scuffed. And of course, what is Veno going to do? He's going to rotate straight to this hill. All of them have got pretty much cat mats, and they're going to crash pad straight onto whoever wins this off-spawn fight. And I can see them doing this a lot of games at Global. So you can see they fizz up. These guys are, looting up, trying to kill the queen, and these guys are just going straight in and trying to nab the coin as well as the slurps that you get from it, and potentially get some easy surge as well. Unfortunately for them, this surge fight really did not go too well. They got very, very shambles from it. Obviously, Tayson is a very good fighting team, so they might need to be a little bit quicker at globals, and ended up getting very, very scuffed from this. A globals level, you can't just have a clean mid-game 3v3 fight. The teams are just too good. And these guys end up in this really scuffed spot where they basically almost lose this fight. Flixi gets thirsted. And crazy stat, Flixi got knocked 4 times in this one game alone. I don't know if he's cooking up some strats and these guys have got some crazy new, crazy new tech for winning fights when Flixi gets knocked. But Flixi seems to have mastered getting knocked while still his team win the fights, which is quite impressive. Anyway, these guys, they get restacked, they loot up at this building, and they double back to their POI. The main thing, because their off-spawn is so quick, is they can always double back to their POI later, especially if they've got Surge at this point. Even if it's in the Storm, they can double back to their POI, fully loot it up. The flag's got a load of extra loot for them as well. They can also get the drones as well, so they get extra heals and stuff that are left on the floor. And these guys end up getting a little bit more stacked, just refarming the buildings. Quite simple like this. The issue is, though, because they've only got 1 kill from that push onto Tayson, they didn't actually kill Tayson, and they had to use all of the slurps that they stole, is now they're kind of scuffed, right? They're actually not in the best situation ahead. They're not good on Surge. They've only got about 500 Storm Surge damage, and in a Globals lobby, you're going to need 1,500. So unless they're trading early with another team, they need to go for another aggro push, which is exactly what they do right here. And of course, Flixi is going to get knocked once again. like a goat. So as you can see, crash pad straight over onto this other globals teams right here, Mixon, Upwell, and Focus. They get straight over and they get into the box. Veno hits a max right there, and they go ahead full piece, and they take out another one of the players as well with the double pump. Just like that, they're in a 2v1, and these guys play the 2v1 really, really well. So what they do is they double res, and then as they double res, is one of them like holds while resing, and then Veno like turns the tension and just fully blocks off Focus. So very, very good plays from these guys. I do think their fighting isn't as good as it was at the start of this chapter. Like, at the start of this chapter, they were like so good at fighting and they would win every mid-game fight. But now it seems they're always, you know, getting a little bit scuffed from it. The fights are a little bit more ropey. You know, one of them's getting knocked pretty much every single fight. And they have to reboot quite consistently. And obviously, you know, rebooting in globals is just not the play. Flixie here, there's a nice little lurk down, knows this guy's going to edit down his bottom, gets the kill, and just like that, they are good on Surge for now. This isn't actually enough Surge for the full game, which is the kind of crazy thing. So they've got 4 kills from a full mid-game fight twice in a row, and they still don't have enough Surge for moving zones. So they're still in a pretty scuffed spot. At this point in time, Veno calls a very, very good rotate, which is going under this bridge right here, knowing they can sort of pop out of the other side if they don't run into anybody. And they're basically playing for the next partial zone after this. So they're just going to chill in here. They're good on Surge. They need to refarm their mats a little bit. And they play completely under this bridge. But I could imagine, like, if they don't get that fight as easily, this could be a really scuffed game for them, especially if zone doesn't pull, like, right next to their POI. This is, like, the best type of zone for them. You know, not quite on their POI, but near enough where they can, you know, double into their POI mid-game. And they get a very, very good partial zone pull right here. I really like how Flixie plays this partial zone in 6. He farms up all his metal, and then these guys build a load of space, as you can see here. They basically do, like, a little airport strat. 2x2 with extra boxes at the back, full claiming everything right here. And then Veno also goes and makes even more space, just, you know, in case zone was to pull over this way. He makes even more space to just tarp over and farm up all of his wood. And at this point, not really gaining any wood or mats from doing this, as you can see, because he does break the rock, unfortunately. But you're claiming so much space, and it's very, very awkward for a team to now rotate past it, because there's so many builds that you could be hiding in. Veno does the correct call, team pushes over towards him, he just runs back, but they've got all of this extra space in case zone was to pull, you know, somewhere on this side of the map. They'd have a very, very easy crash pad rotate, and they're only playing 6 crash pads. They're only ever playing 1 stack of crash pads, which, if you're playing more than that, then you just don't have enough heals for the entirety of the game. At this point in time, don't need to do anything. All they need to do is just scout, get info, check there's nobody flanking them in the tunnel, and they get a very, very nice refresh right here onto Wox, whose team has kind of been struggling, to be honest. They spot him on backside, spam over and over. Rest of the lobby helps them out, and they spot the body. And as soon as they spot this body, look what Veno does. Very, very good fundamentals. Full tarp over to it, block all the angles, make sure not getting third-partied, get a little gold pump upgrade as well. And they instantly start focusing on their rotate, as you can see. They're not like faffing around, you know, arguing over who gets the gold pump. They're instantly focusing on their rotate. Veno scouts out, and they do a really good play here, in my opinion, which is to break this rotate up into 2 parts. So Flixie goes first. Obviously, you can't get into the end of zone right here. It would be really scuffed if you tried to do that. So what they do is they box up, they pause, and they build all of this space. Might look like a lot of materials, but once again, they're going to refarm. They're going to keep their mats really strong. And they scout out their next rotate, and they have another really nice rotate with Veno taking the lead. Make sure to build metal as well at this point, so it's hard to get lobbied. And they even expand back into Storm. This is a very, very good play. I mean, you don't have to do this, but if you were to get like lobbied or focused or whatever, now you have an extra box that's safe at the back, so you can like hold while walking backwards. So it's very, very good to do. And also, they're not wasting too many materials right here. They're not building like a 2x2 or like a 3x2, just a simple little diagonal L-shaped box to, you know, fully heal up and get ready for moving zones as well. Now, as we go into moving zones, I actually am a big fan of how Veno and also Flixie as well call moving zones. Is they don't go for height early. They only really go for height when it's, you know, a good opportunity to go for it and other people are sort of griefing for it. So you can see Zone is playing back up this mountain. It's very, very scuffed. You obviously could maybe think about crash banding and go up in height, but it's probably just going to result in a grief fest, especially because we've already got, who is this up on high ground? Mustache Queasy, of course, you know, typical height players, just full cranking for height early. So these guys never really think about going it for early unless they spot, you know, nobody's on height and, Height's completely griefed, they always just play mid-ground, get a consistent couple of refreshes, and then they can chain that into like a high kill Height game. Whereas Queasy, even if he wins the game from Height, he's never dropping like, more than 12 kills. Whereas these guys, because they play mid-ground and get all these kills here, it makes it very, very easy for them to actually, take Height later just because of the amount of kills they're getting. Okay, now they do their Fizz Crash. I really like this Fizz Crash. What they do is they edit the cone completely so it's broken. This might look bad, right? Because, obviously they're super exposed, they're not getting their head bumped. But because it's going straight up a hill and they know it's going straight up a hill, they realize this is actually the best play to do in a situation. They go straight up the hill, use the Fizz to like keep on jumping up, getting higher up the layers. And now they get above Surge and they're in a perfect spot where they can tarp in a straight line basically into the end zone, which I think is really important. On a diagonal like this, from where Tayson is, he has to tarp like so many extra mats just because he has to go, left and right as he goes forward. Whereas these guys can just literally just go in a straight line over and over into the end of zone. And also, because they're the first ones up the hill with that Fizz Crash, they can have a very, very easy time of finding a kill. Another nice benefit of being the first team up right here is, of course, they save so many mats just doing, a pretty straight line tarp into the end of zone, which is what Flixie's doing. But also, they get a long time period where they can look back and go for some kills right here. Vidil, Frostroki, and Enkido, they're doing some crazy crash pad. Very, very easy to block that. All you need to do is shoot it, and then they get a free kill right here. However, they have really good discipline about what refreshes they go for, as you can see. None of them is running backside into 10 tick to grab that body. Instead, what they do is, first of all, Veno continues to look for the same kill, regroups with Flixie, and Vico stays at the back here for a second, but has such good awareness about where this other player is. He obviously knows that he's going to be trying to get his teammates loot, and look what happens. Edit down, guy walks straight into his box, he throws the body forward, and just like that, they get 2 bodies worth of loot, because Enkido was down there, trying to grab the extra stuff from his teammate before that moving zone. And now these guys are in an absolutely perfect position. Look how many mats they've got. They've got like over 2,000 builds quite easily. And what they're going to do is try to execute a win condition, which is what they're really good at. And of course, that's going to come from taking Height. But they're not going to go for Height from, backside and do some crazy, crash pad up and try fighting for Height versus Marius, Vanya, Pixie. That is just not the play for these guys. Instead, what they're going to do is a really clean rotate from Flixie right here. Actually, really good stuff. Little Fizz jump up, pause on a nice mid-ground layer, right? So they just pause as soon as they get up right here so they can all regroup. And now that little rotate from like here to here, they have such an easy time of seeing what's ahead of them, as you can see, as well as they're all regrouped and they can go for a kill together. So they're pausing over and over, looking for a kill opportunity. They take out Marius right there, and they know when they take out Marius, Height is actually kind of free, because that's obviously going to be one of the teams going for Height in this type of lobby. So what do they do to actually go for this Height win condition? First of all, is they fully tarp, get up to a nice high layer, as you can see here by Flixie, and they try to go for this, classic Fizz Crash, and then you basically zoom up straight up on Height, which is actually what Vanya, Pixie, and Marius do. Unfortunately for these guys, after they've killed Marius, is iDrop and Charry have taken high ground. So these guys are looking very, very good for Height as well. And Pixie is coming straight down off Height. And look what he's going to do. Get straight into the box, hits a couple bangs, but he goes down. And just like that, these guys know with another refresh, they have way more materials than the high ground team. The really key thing is, though, is they full heal up. They don't go for Height, because obviously Height's now going to be looking at them because they just got a refresh. Instead, what they do, and this is probably Veno's call since he's the one leading it, is they head bounce with floors all the way towards front side, just like this. As you can see, they literally head bounce, wasting a load of wood, because obviously you don't really need that much wood endgame. You don't really be tarping on wood. They get the full way front side, and now just imagine Zone was to pull further up this hill or further over this way, or even down the hill over this way. This tarp from Veno, being the most front side team over here, would be absolutely huge. Veno turns it straight into nice little wide tarp into a kill onto Vidil. Another refresh just like that, and these guys are ready to go for high ground. The key thing is, though, before they go for high ground, is they do a little bit of scouting, a little bit of information gathering onto the Height team, and they decide, as Zone pulls back, as you can see, Zone actually pulls back across Height, they're not going to do their typical Height chop out, where they, build up and then shoot out Height, which is probably what they would have done. As you can see, Height's not actually connected to anything right here, if it pulled towards them. So you can imagine if Zone pulled over this way, they would look up, shoot out this weak point on Height, and probably kill one of them to fall, and then be able to take Height from there. As Zone pulls straight back, though, they know there is a blind spot on height. If you guys don't know what a blind spot is, it's basically whenever height will have no awareness about the team right below them. And in this case, these guys do such a good height take. What they do, splash in Storm, fizz crash pad just on that ramp like before, and they go absolutely zooming up just like this. And just like that, they have taken height. Of course, the other team, who's been fighting height, wants to try to continue to fight for it, but because of how many refreshes these guys have got from mid-ground, and also you need to remember, a mid-ground refresh is normally going to be way more materials than a high-ground refresh when you fight for height and take it. And of course, what's Flixie going to do? He's going to get knocked once again like a king. But Veno is crazy. He takes out another one. And now these guys have got a 2v1 going on high ground. And what do? They get the res off once again. Like, I literally can't believe how many times they get these reses and reboots off and stuff like that in an actual stacked finals lobby. Kind of just shows how crazy these two are, that they're constantly able to like out-trade and out-knock the others so they can actually take high ground. Here is where the jump coin that they got from that refresh earlier comes in very, very nice. Vico can play with the jump coin, as well as I believe one of them has the siphon coin from earlier as well. And these guys are so aggro at getting kills at mid-ground. They drop down very, very aggressively. Of course, Veno is going to stay up and secure the win with the med mist. I mean, doesn't really need to secure it, but he's just staying super high up, making sure that he's got this med mist for later, while these two go down and absolutely frag out. As you can see, they're going to drop down very, very aggressively, looking for kills on backside. They spot Chicho, Tayson's teammate, right there. Another refresh, and just like that, they're on way for a really high kill win. And this is a playstyle that most other teams can't really copy. I think the only team that can copy this is probably Peterbot and Cold and Ritual. Is they're so aggro, and then obviously they can take height later. Flixie does a very, very nice play, which is sort of suffocating down all of these teams. You can see it pulls up towards the mountain, so he suffocates down all of these teams, and there's still 30 seconds left on zone. So even though Veno only has one mid mist, that should be good for heal off, just because of how early they're blocking off the other teams. Flixie jumps into box, gets knocked for the 4th time this game, and just like that, Vico is going to go down, hits a nice little max onto Pix right there, and now Veno in the heal off. I mean, you just know Veno's going to win this. I'm quite surprised Veno's the one playing heal off. Maybe he didn't take Storm or something earlier. I'm quite surprised he's not dropping, you know, down and being aggro, because he's really, really good at that. Very, very standard stuff. Starts getting chopped out, runs back with a med mist, and just like that, the little interrupt play and the suffocate play from Flixie really, really paid off. And these guys get a 15 kill, and each one of them being on 5 kills as well. So yeah, that's how Globals is looking. Let me know if you want to see a rapid Canada Bolt VOD of you guys in the comments. There is sort of time for doing another VOD, and they also won the NA Central Finals. They stopped Peterbot, who was going absolutely crazy. Obviously, Peterbot didn't play one game. Peterbot dropped 65 kills as well, which is absolutely nuts. But let me know if you want to see a VOD on these guys. I think they're another favourite, especially with their spot and being on con as well. Clicks is also starting to look a little bit better. He got 3rd in this finals, as well as Aegis, Acorn, and Puyo. Now that they've had the coin taken away from them in about half the games, they're looking a lot worse. Like, only 330 points is far below their standards. So I don't think they're like a clear-cut favourite and, you know, easy predict for number 1 anymore. So I might need to change up my predictions. But as of right now, this is the map. Vico and Flixie uncon looking extremely good. And also the nice thing with these guys is all of these teams landing around them, you know, are either a free third party in this case, or even potentially just a free W key if they want to take it. You know, they're not just going to be able to just run through every team, because these global teams are a lot more, you know, strong at fighting than a regular FNCS, you know, Div 1 finals. However, I think these guys individually are way better fighters than all of these teams on this side of the map. Even probably better at fighting than Aegis, Acorn, Puyo. So there is some potential for them being very, very aggro if they need to secure some Surge. But then again, you know, fighting for Surge really isn't the meta. And a lot of teams are just going to be trading and getting way above Storm Surge threshold for that much. So again, let me know if you want to see a rapid Canada Bolts VOD with you guys, as well as if you have any players you want me to interview at Globals. I got lucky enough to get an invite last minute, and I will be doing some interviews with players, so let me know down in the comments who you want to see interviewed, and I'll see you guys after Globals.